Good evening everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me again, much appreciated. Bike failed its MOT today, so I thought I would cheer myself up by having a little chat about a biking subject that I really love, and that's rat bikes. When I started biking sort of 20 or so years ago, used to go to rallies and that kind of thing, and I'd always see rat bikes at the rallies and thought they looked amazing, you know, and you'd see them out in the wild at Alton Calf or wherever, you know, a few would roll up. You don't seem to see as many of them out and about as you did. I'm not sure why. I don't really go to rallies anymore, so that could be part of the reason I'm not seeing them. But anyway, let's get into, you know, what is a rat bike? So this is not a rat. No, that is of course a guinea pig, but you know, this is not a rat either. My bike as it is at the moment, I mean, it's got some ratty kind of flavours to it, but you know, what is this magic that makes a bike into a rat bike? So you know, let's dig a little bit into that. So you know, straight off the bat, these are just my thoughts, my opinions, you know, kind of where I've arrived at as far as it goes, and I don't think there really are any kind of hard and fast rules about all this kind of thing. You know, it could even be that a rat bike kind of develops into what it is, and that's the journey of my bike that I kind of want to talk about here. So obviously you're going to need to work on your bike at some point, and that aspect of maintaining your own bike and doing as much of the work you can yourself goes hand in hand with the whole rat thing. You know, it's kind of born of necessity almost, in a way. So you know, I'm quite happy to work on my bike. You've seen videos and pictures of what I do out on the roadside. I haven't got a garage or anything, so a lot of the fixes that I do are, you know, it's not Bertie budget, but it often is a case of make do and mend. And you know, there are some fixes like like these chain adjusters, for example. You know, the old one's rusted out, so you get the pattern part, the proper part, and you replace the one that's rusted out. Fine. You know, that kind of fix, that kind of change does not make a rat bike, obviously. So you know, other changes, take the voltmeter that I put in, for example. In fact, the voltmeter and the fuel tap that I put in. So you know, neither of those changes were actually completely necessary, but I kind of wanted them for peace of mind. So I put the voltmeter on to give me a constant reading of what the battery was putting out while I was riding, because you know, if the regulator rectifier fails, which is a common ER5 fault, you know, if that fails, it spikes the voltage, and before you know what's happening, you know, your rev counter's failed, your dash lights are blown, and all sorts of electrical nastiness is happening. So you know, I wanted to have a heads up if the rectifier was going to fail, so that I could do something about it before too much damage was done. So that was kind of a fix that I came to myself. The voltmeter that I put on it, okay, so it is, I guess, a bike part. You know, it's not quite you know, it's obviously not designed for a Kawasaki ER5, but I guess it's a bike part. So that's beginning down the road of what I think of as rat, you know, where you're having to kind of do a fix that's a bit off the cuff. You know, the fuel tap was the same, so the ER5 has a vacuum petcock. If the vacuum petcock fails and your float needles, you know, your floats and your carbs have also failed, then you get this thing where the fuel's overflowing into the engine, into the airbox, into your oil, oh god, all sorts of nasty flooding fuel horribleness, and you know, that's just really not a very nice thing to have to deal with. And that can even happen when the bike's parked up. That doesn't have to be happening while you're riding along. So you know, I added that little red fuel tap as a way to just block off the fuel system before it gets to the carbs, just in case the fuel petcock or the floats have failed on the bike. So that's another kind of, and you know, that fuel tap, that is not a bike part. That I tried a few different parts. I tried a lawnmower fuel tap first of all, but it was too plasticky and it was leaking, and I tried a few other things that didn't really work, and then I eventually found this heavier duty, is it brass? I'm not sure, some sort of metal tap that's been on there for almost a year and it's working great. So was that a rat thing? It's kind of a make do amend fix, but it's on the road to rat. You know, a bit like the gators, the fork gators. I had to replace one of the forks because the stanchion was pitted when I got the bike, and it was beginning to weep a bit of oil from the seal. So I got a second-hand fork off eBay because I didn't have the tools to replace the stanchion, and I thought I'd get myself some gators on there to protect them for the future. So again, not necessarily rat, but reactive. But then we kind of moved down the road a little bit more towards what might be rat, because I wanted some engine bars. I wanted to protect the engine with some bars in case I dropped the bike, and I have actually dropped it since putting them on, because that's me and whatever, you know, so I'm glad I did it. But the point is, the engine bar, the engine mounting bolts, front and rear, that were on the bike weren't long enough to accommodate these second-hand engine bars that I got. The bars obviously didn't come with any mounting bolts or anything, so I had to kind of bodge up my own, and I ended up buying just some threaded bar from Toolstation and cutting that down and just whacking some nuts on there, a locking nut, just to make sure it's secure. So, you know, again, it was kind of a reactive fix where I had to think outside the box and grab some bits that weren't actually made for that purpose and adapt them. So, you know, in my mind, that's creeping towards ratting. The same with the cush drive. So the cush drive had some play in it, not a massive amount. I didn't want to spend out 60-70 quid for a new rubber cush drive. So I packed out the cush drive that I've got with some chopped down rubber matting. A lot of people use inner tubes, but I didn't have any, so I chopped some rubber matting and packed out the cush drive with that, and it's nice and tight, and it's been working fine for a few thousand miles, so I'm well pleased with that. Handguards. Freezing hands in the winter, so I got some cheap handguards off Amazon. I think they probably were intended for a slightly smaller bike, but I did a bit of bending and fettling and sort of fitted them on. So there's some handguards on there now. Picked up some ammo bags from not an auction place, like a second-hand army surplus place down in Dorset on holiday last year. And those little ammo pouches, couldn't figure out a way to fit them to the back of the bike, so I ended up cable tying them in various ways. They're totally secure, but yeah, they're from webbing, army webbing, you know, ammo pouches, so they're totally not meant for a bike. But now I've got some storage on my bike that you know, looks cool and kind of fits in with the theme of the bike. So, you know, and actually talking about the theme of the bike, that was another thing. So when I bought the bike, it was this gold, you know, ER5 gold colour, which is kind of almost more silver really, but you know, it's called gold. It was a bit tatty and a bit battered, and you know, I'm not an expert. Well, I'm not a spraying expert or anything like that. Didn't want to pay to have it done. And I've had in the past I had a Land Rover, an ex-army Land Rover, when I back in my estate keeping days, that was pretty old and battered, and I wanted to kind of keep that looking good. So I bought, as it was ex-army, I bought a big old tin of olive drab MOD paint, and you know, they literally do slap that on with a paintbrush, because you know, I've worked for the MOD and seen it done myself. So I thought, why not do that for the bike? So sanded the tank down, sanded the parts that I wanted to paint down, and did just that. Got myself a tin of MOD olive drab and literally painted it on with a paintbrush. That was last summer. A few coats later, and I think it looks alright, you know. And the beauty of it is that I can just touch that up with a paintbrush whenever I need to. You know, if it's got some chips or road damage or anything, I just get the old brush out and give it another coat of olive drab. I matched that in with some black. It was black acrylic actually, was what I had on some of the plastic panel work and the grab rail at the back. But you know, that's and the front mud guard. But that seems to have worked all right, and I'm really pleased with it. I know it does upset people that like that perfect paint finish, and you know, a lot of people were left sort of scratching their head trying to figure out why I've done it. But at the same time, I've had compliments about it, saying that it makes it a bit different, and you know, the bottom line is that I love it and I'm happy with it, and it's easy for me to maintain. So that kind of sets us on the road that I'm thinking of for this little series of videos. They're going to be released a bit sporadically whenever I sort of make a change to the bike or planning a change to it. But you know, I think the bike is in the beginnings of Rat, you know, and I kind of want to take it down that road and really bring it into the realm of Rat and sort of make it an actual ratted bike. Because you know, the changes that I've made, okay, some of them are cosmetic, but a lot of them have been out of necessity, and I've kind of found workarounds that do work but aren't meant for that purpose, and to me that's kind of the beginnings of Rat. But you know, if we're talking about real Rat bikes, then this bike here is a perfect example of that. I love the look of this machine. This is an account that I follow on Instagram, MZRat, and you know, they very kindly gave me permission to put this picture up on the video, just to give folks an idea of what I consider to be, you know, Rat perfection, and what I'm aiming towards. So yeah, they're part of a Rat bike club in Germany, and they've got a Facebook page. So if you want to check out some of the machines, and I you know, strongly recommend that you do go and have a little look at what they've got, because you know, that if you want to know what a Rat bike looks like, then there's a fairly good cross section of examples of that kind of machine there. I'll put a link down in the description. So thank you so much to MZRat for letting me pop that picture up. So yeah, please, if you know, you found the video interesting, please do drop a comment, and you know, if you've made it this far, then why not comment Ratty below, and you know, maybe you know, if you've got your own Rat bike, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. You know, what direction you've taken that in. But anyway, I'll catch you in the next video.